After we beat you, Yevon, I'll disappear.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying goodbye.
Not now.
I know it's selfish, but this is my story.
If there's anything I've learned this year between Final Fantasy X and Hades is that I want to kill my dad and I hate fucking butterflies.
It's like killing your dad fucking owns, especially when there's cool guitar music happening during it.
Oh man, and we will have that.
Yeah.
Also, this is the Every FNFF podcast, and I'm Curtis.
I'm Carl.
I'm Alex.
And I'm sad.
Are you sad? Well, nice to meet you, sad. I'm dad.
Damn it. Then I must kill you. I hate you.
So we're on board the sin.
Yeah. So before we tear into daddy,
Until we tear him a new one, as Sid so affectionately put it.
yeah. Is there anything else like in the overworld that we wanted to share? I know off mic we were kind of talking about some like dialogue you can get around the world from different NPCs.
I think all of the dialogue that I've like collected throughout the past like month or so is like well deep into my screenshots that I will never find again. I'm trying to remember offhand some, but I am looking at the script here, and I think if you go to like the far plane, you can actually see Trommel talking to Jiskel, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I think I did bring that up when we were doing the Celestial Weapon episode.
Right.
Where he's like, please
yeah.
forgive me, Lord Jiskel. He's like trying, he's being a little sniveling baby. Like, I could have done more. Like, you weren't totally evil.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was like kind of giving Trommel a little bit of like leniency while we were like dealing with him, where I was like, he just seems old and dumb.
I think he just felt powerful because he had Seymour on his side, but now that Seymour's dead, he's like, oh no.
It's not even that too. It's like, what, Seymour is his like grandson, right? Like, of course he's gonna like take the side of his grandson.
He's not really his actual blood relative.
No, he's not his grandson. He's his
he's like his Alfred.
Yeah, he's like his Alfred. Yeah,
then fuck him. Michael Caine ass.
There was some good dialogue with Luzu if you go back to Besaid. That's not like directly referring to the ship, where he got it kind of is like the closure to his story, where he like sadly discusses what he plans to do next and like where he went wrong and such. It's
good. Talks about how he misses that got. Got. You hate to see it.
Which actually in your guys' game, Gotta lived, right?
I think. I honestly can't remember. My entire brain is now just thinking about how to get Lux Spheres and Fortune Spheres and the optimal way of killing One Eye or whatever. Like,
so I forgot to look into find Classico because I know there's some dialogue with him somewhere.
Classic Classico.
Oh yeah. So if you can find him on the Leaky actually.
Oh.
So you know how we can like talk him into either quitting the Knights or staying in the Chocobo Knights? And you can tell he really wants to be like a breeder and doesn't want to stick around.
Right.
But you can find him on the forward deck of the SS Leaky if you suggested for him to quit the Knights.
Nice to see you again.
You really quit the Knights?
Yeah, I did. Elma was upset with me, but Captain Lucille understood. Now I'm working as a chocobo breeder on this ship. I really, really love taking care of chocobos. Being with chocobos all the time. I think I found my calling. And it's all thanks to you. Thank you.
Aww.
That's very sweet. That's very good. I kind of wish.
And he gives you a friend sphere, which is cool.
Well,
a friend sphere.
It's like, I found this on the chocobo nest the other day. So I want you to have it.
Yeah, it's like fucking Pokemon rules. If you give it enough friendship, it like evolves into an Espeon or some shit. I in my head though, I think like that's like obviously that's what should happen. That's a very nice end to that story. How fucking good would it be though if he was like, oh yeah, I'm a chocobo breeder now. Like it's been great, and then you talk to like the girl who sings, and she's like, oh, this fucking new guy sucks. I can't stand it. Like once we get to port, I'm gonna like ditch him and tell him he can't ride a chocobo and he has to chase after me. It's just like the same pecking order for him.
Actually, knowing what Clasco's job becomes in X2, he'll be all right. He'll be okay.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Small spoiler, he'll be taking the place of the world's strongest individual.
He's gonna be
I
a new
see.
breeder. He's gonna be a monster
He's
breeder.
a fucking monster.
Oh my god,
He just couldn't
dude.
stop at the chocobos.
There may be an eternal calm coming, but we have created a brand new hell by believing in Clasco. He's about to usher in a new era of misery.
Yeah, right. I've gotten really into nemesis breeding.
Oh my gosh. When I was in Luca, because I was making some shit posts using the Sphere Theater, because I found out that there's no music during the FMVs if you load them up in the.
Really?
They sometimes trigger before the FMV starts.
Okay.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like-
no, it makes sense. It's like the FF7 glitch that we talked about at the end of the game, where like when you just skip past like most of the end of the one disc, you're just like at the end of the game and there's no music
Oh, yeah, it's
playing until
completely
you
silent.
reset the yeah.
But I was there because I was doing my fucking Vengabus thing. That was on our Twitter.
It's so fucking funny.
Bumped into Owaka there, and he's like, "Hello there." Not unlike Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it's like, "Hey, weren't you in prison?"
Nah, those monks are pushovers, I tell you. I'll fleece any priest or my name's not Owaka.
Titus like, "Sorry, it's our fault you got locked up." Like, not a problem. Anything for a customer, eh?
You know, I had a sister, once as old as sister, you see.
A summoner she was. Went on a pilgrimage at a young age, and that was it. Ah,
Me and once, well, neither of us were fighters enough to be guardians. I think about it every day, I do. If we could have helped her. Least I can do is try to help another summoner, I figure. And Lady Yuna, she looks so much like...
so that's kind of tying
Wow.
into the
Oh,
first cutscene.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's amazing. Like that actually like brings closure to this weird little like side story. That's
So
been
what you
going on.
said that was their sister? Was the summoner
I think so. Yeah, remember? Yeah, we saw once at the Far Plane a while
Yeah.
ago.
talking
Before
and
we-
yeah.
Saw him briefly in Thunderplane.
Yeah.
Before he became like, so I was while I was doing all the research for like getting the perfect weapons and shit, and you know getting ready for the optional bosses. Wants is like an important part of like the strategy for that. It's like if you talk to him when you're at what's it called, Mount Gagazet, like then you can get the best armor in the game. If you didn't, you're fucked out of that for the next playthrough.
Yeah.
It's like to get the 4-slotted armor that's just all blank. Like you have to talk to him when he appears on Mount Gagazet, and if you don't,
Yeah.
he's just gone for the game.
I mean, it's fitting because like as soon as you talk to Owaka after this interaction, he says, "Once has all the good stuff. Owaka the 23rd's retiring."
Damn.
Oh wow.
So his, I mean, this is even before we've beat Sin. So like he's getting a little like, it's all over. I'm done.
Awaka's reign of terror has come to an end. Once's reign of terror begins now.
It's literally the
He's gonna
like,
He's gonna run his capital out of fear.
it's literally the meme of like, but you didn't do anything. He's like, oh, I'm glad I got to help another summoner, and it's like, you charged a lot. Like we had to give you
Yeah.
all of our precious gil in the beginning of the game so that you wouldn't charge us like way too much.
Yeah, right.
How the fuck did you help?
It's good. It's good shit.
I do love that Owaka though.
Is he in 2?
He is.
No. Okay.
Ooh, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Do him and I'm hoping him and Rim still are like at it.
Ooh, we'll see. We'll see.
Speaking, I don't know, it just made me think of Animal Crossing, like the hidden backstory of Red and Tom Nook, rivals. One's kind of a sleazier version of the other, selling fake art. So when we're on the ship on our way back to, kill you, Yevon, or whatever, we can talk. We can have one last conversation with our fellow guardians on the ship. And I like some of this. Like, it's a really like putting the pin on everything because I think this is like the last time we're gonna be able to talk to them before
we do the deed.
But like, if you talk to Lulu, she says,
You've proven yourself as a guardian, maybe even as the best.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
"This is pretty cool."
I wonder if that's an affection meter thing.
I wonder too, but like,
Probably not.
I
It's
don't know.
probably.
She does also say, your meeting with was quite ... kind of trailing off. But then she also says,
Can't say praise be to Yevon anymore, can we?
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
there's a lot of good stuff. Kamari adds some closure because he
The Ronso were singing too. Kimari's ears never wrong.
Ah.
Kamari felt friendship from somewhere inside Sin.
Oh.
There is no need for fear. Kimari will go with you.
That's really good. I like to think of that as like the weird kind of like American mythos of like, oh, George Washington or like Abe Lincoln or whoever it was, they could never tell a lie. Like Kimari's ears never wrong. And on that day, he chopped down a cherry tree for some reason unknown.
It would turn out to be the celestial weapon tree or whatever.
Yeah, it led to the spheromorph.
Yeah.
Riku says,
Sometimes, when I got a lot on my mind, it just helps to go,
Titus the same though,
Which-
right?
Yeah,
true,
I
yeah.
same, yeah.
once the comm starts, we'll take the airship to your Xanarkand, which, as we know from the Ultimania, or what the
Yeah.
fuck's this stupid book called? That is definitely possible, apparently.
Yeah, right.
We can go there.
Yeah. And then she also says,
just a feeling, but I think my dad kinda likes you.
Aw.
Oh, this is very cute.
Yeah, because you has some really cool lines about blowing a hole in
yeah,
Sin.
you're like, let's blow
Yeah.
some shit
This
up.
guy's got moxie.
Yeah,
Speaking my
right.
language. I think Orin had a really cool, heavy dialogue. If you want to take that one,
Yeah, he says,
I'd like to meet Jecht before he fades away. When this is over, I will leave. I have played at life too long.
and then you can talk to him again, and he says, 10 years ago, I honored Jecht's last words and traveled to Xanarkand. I planned to stay there, watching over you. But when Sin attacked Xanarkand that day, I changed my mind. Outside the dream world, life can be harsh, even cruel, but it is life.
He wanted you to have a shot at life. I saw it in Sin's eyes. That's why I brought you here, to Spira.
Oh, wow.
that's cool. Yeah, that just
I
kind
feel
of
like-
that kind of addresses, I think, the first FMV we saw where we see
Yeah.
Oron seeing Sin approach and then asking for basic confirmation from Sin to
Yeah,
you're sure.
he says, "Are you sure?" Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's amazing that all this information that really brings it together is not hidden, but entirely optional.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually didn't see that until reading the script right now, but that was one of when I was digesting the end of the game, I was still trying to think about that. I'm like, well, where did Orin come from, and what's his actual backstory, and what was the shit in the beginning with Sin and all that. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that it's actually addressed.
Yeah.
I like what Sid says as well. If you talk to Sid, he says, "We're counting on you, kid. Yeehaw! Here we go." Which, every time he did that, which I heard a lot because you use the airship a lot, I just thought of the old the hamster dance. You guys know that? Because I could have sworn that exact line was in the hamster dance, and I was like, well, they fucking referenced the Macarena. Maybe they also referenced the. I think they just say yeehaw though. But I don't know.
maybe they sampled this. Who knows? It's all pitched up.
Yeah.
Let's slow it down and maybe it is fucking Sid. God.
Yeah.
Waka says,
We've been through a lot, yeah? And hey, we're not finished yet. All Spira's rooting for us. Let's not let them down, yeah? And to think, if you hadn't come floating out of the sea that day.
it's just
Yeah.
cute little,
Pretty good.
everyone's just reminiscing about how far we've come.
I do like the slight sports angle that's given as well. It's everyone in Spira is rooting for us. This is the first time that everyone in the world is rooting for the
heathens.
the Besaid or
Oh, that too.
Aurochs.
Oh yeah.
But we're traveling with the fucking Sykes though, so
Yeah.
they're gonna get all the glory.
That's true. Yeah.
The rocks are still in Luca.
The Guado glories get all the glory.
I do like there was also some dialogue. I think we might have gone over it. It's hard to kind of keep track of all this just because it's like if you're going around Spira and doing side quest stuff, like you can obviously hear a lot of different things at different times. But there was like dialogue between some of the Guado who were talking about like having regret that like Seymour let the fiends loose in Luca during the Blitzball game, and that like they went along with it because they thought it was for the better good and stuff, but like they're still gonna have to like atone for their stake in it, and they're not just like, we can't just blame it all on Seymour. Like I think that's really cool and really like you know, admirable.
Right. You were saying Yuna has some dialogue. She actually has a little bit of multiple choice question, which is cool.
No matter what happens, I'll see this through to the end. I promise. We're almost done.
Then if you talk to her again, she says, "How are you doing?" And you can say never better, okay, or not so good. And if you say never better, is like,
you know, I am too.
Which is cool. I think she's like got a clear head, maybe. Like she's maybe.
Yeah.
I know. She's like, I already was gonna die trying, so now that I died trying with everyone, everyone's on board to maybe not die. Like that's things are actually kind of looking up for Yuna. I mean,
she made it further than she expected to. Honestly,
I was planning on dying at the end of this, and now like the best case scenario is I don't.
Right.
But if you say okay,
really, I'm great. Thanks to you.
Very cute.
But then she say not so good. She says, I see.
You don't have to smile if it's too tough.
If it's too tough. Yeah, which is a nice little thing because like
nobody's watching
her entire life. Even that, like it's like I think it's like very intentional that she said that because like her entire life it's been like, oh well things are really hard and it's harder on you than most people. Like you're sacrificing your life for everyone. You cannot show that. You cannot show that you're sad. You have to just
This is very I don't know, just like a Twitter conversation we had with her on the other day, just about like you don't owe everyone else comfort. You gotta like take care of yourself. You know, we don't have to smile because we unless we want to. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
She's doing this for Spear, but she doesn't have to like pretend to be like, you know, happy that she's sacrificing herself for it anymore.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's cool.
Pretty good.
It's cool.
Pretty good.
Complex. I think that's everyone accounted for, right?
Yep. All the party members.
That's the whole team. Yeah, I keep forgetting because Final Fantasy VII has a lot more party members to talk to. No, there's no Yuffie hurling over the side or anything. But yeah, we are entering Sin. This is the point of no return. As of last episode, we've hit our last save point in the game. Right?
Yeah.
That's right. And like we were saying, as soon as we walk by that save point, a large like tower screw thing falls from like the sky, I guess.
Yeah. A non-Euclidean tower.
Yeah. And like crashes in front of us, and by interacting with like this large disc symbol on the front, we kind of get transported to the next area.
Yeah.
I think this is called the core or the nucleus.
The nucleus.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's a Euclidean place.
Yes.
A Euclidean. Just get the fuck out.
I said yes very like tentatively because I thought I fucked up my like thing previously and I thought I was being corrected, but I didn't like associate. I was just like, yes. That's
well, I will say, so the thing that falls down from the top, like I was looking for a picture of it, right, online, and apparently it's called the Tower of the Dead.
Yeah, so the save file is actually called that. Like when you're at that save sphere, it's the Tower of the Dead.
Wow.
Okay, all right, gotcha. But yeah, once we enter it, we're in the nucleus. And Mike, I could be wrong. I don't know that this is the case. Is the nucleus the place that we kept seeing when like Titus would go on his weird dream fucking visions and he would like see dead spirits walking around on Sin?
That makes sense,
We saw that tree that was similar to the Macalania Spring, but we saw like Luzu or Gata and like their and Baby Bahamut.
Is that this?
This looks exactly like that space.
Which is badass.
But we're in this stupid fucking swirly dreamy space that
oh my god.
There's not much for instructions of what to do here.
No. There's a number. There's a 0 in the bottom left.
Number go up.
And that's it. And then like sounds, and it's really weird because the camera is constantly like shifting and like rotating around. Yeah. So like it makes it kind of like difficult to like run around. Like in certain like at certain points you will have to run towards the camera because it's basically like a big circle from what I could understand of it.
Yeah.
That you just need to run around until you trigger like the next event, which is like not explained to you at all. But like what's happening is a bunch of like icicles are like shooting up from the ground. The
Right, and
stalagmites.
Yeah. And if any of them touch you, you get into a battle, right?
Yeah.
And so
the stakes are high because it's all of the enemies that we've already either captured a bunch of or fought our way tooth and nail here if we didn't have the no encounter armor.
Right.
And you would think like, oh, end game dungeon, this is probably going to be like the Macalania butterflies where like the red one just means, oh, they have higher defense and they're going to be harder to kill and I can't run away from them. No, you can just use Flea.
Well, I will say this. I prepped for final boss, equipment or whatever before I went to this room. And I ran into 2 icicles, and they were both the Marlboros, like the Great Marlboro, who then used Bad Breath on everybody immediately because I didn't have First Strike. I was like, I don't need First Strike for the final boss. And then everybody but like one character died each time, and I was just barely able to run away. And I was like, holy shit. I'm getting ready to lose.
I got hit by quite a few icicles. Normally I just ran away, but I did have 2 of the greater Marlboros attack me. And Yuna has ribbon. So it was pretty much just like that and then like heal Titus. Because it didn't, like, Bad Breath didn't kill anyone. It just like fucked them all up. And,
I didn't have anything with any good skills. Because, again, I'm using the file that went right from Xanarkin to Sin. Like, nothing in the middle, no extra equipment, no extra items. I haven't done any of the monster capturing. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make some good armor. And I went in to make armor, and I was like, I can make nothing. Like, I can make strength +5 is, like, the best thing that I got to put on here.
So I am also using an older save file, so I don't have any of the celestial weapons that I took hours and hours and hours to get. So I don't have any of the perks or anything like that. And like none of my armor is really all that good. But like I forget where I got the ribbon drop for Yuna. It might have been in some like monster arena grinding that I just did as like fun side game throughout. Like I have some good loot from that. Like I think I have some chocobo wings and shit, but like aside from that, I was pretty lucky that I had like the items that I had, but like the armor and stuff was doing me no favors.
Fair. Yeah. So like, I don't know if like I would describe these encounters as like ultra hard or not. Mostly just like the Marlboro.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the Marlboro. Like you can run from everything, but
yeah, I definitely fleed. I was like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not worth fighting things here, as far as I know. I mean, maybe they drop good loot, but I doubt it. It's probably the same as
I think all the good loot is from the crystals we're trying to collect.
I was going to say.
So my strategy for this, because the area is kind of a circle and the camera is consistently oscillating, I just found a spot where closest the camera, so I'm basically going around the same speed as the camera's rotating, so everything is always more or less
farther away from
within view. So I just so I wouldn't just accidentally keep bumping into like these encounters.
Yeah, same. And so during this section where the camera's rotating, the goal is there are little crystal balls, I guess, that kind of they pop up, they'll exist for like 10 seconds and then vanish again. And multiple times I would run up to them and be like on top of them, and then they would vanish, and I'd be like, God damn it.
You have to confirm, or you just have to touch them?
Yeah, they confirm.
Okay. I was hitting confirm, but it also took me like several attempts of the butterfly game to realize you can just run into them and you don't have to hit confirm. I was like,
I guess I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was hitting confirm, but that's just because in any JRPG I'm just spamming the confirm
Pokemon
button
like
anywhere
the only way
I
to make
go.
it work is hitting A and B at the same time.
Yeah, you gotta. What you need to do is you need to hold down B.
Every time it works, that's because you did that.
Yeah, you need to hold down
B.
Yeah.
You need to hold the B button down and rotate counterclockwise, and then like after the third
shake,
after the second shake, you have to just hold down. That was always my strat, and it never failed me except for all the times that it didn't work because it's not real.
That was user error. That wasn't because the game.
Yeah, that was I didn't execute. That was all one.
Those iframes, you know.
But every time you interact with one of these crystals, you get an item, and it's like a really rare, really good item, and like. You know, we've beaten like Penance and Nemesis and done all the extra shit.
Yes, we have. Good to you. Good of you to bring it up, Curtis.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we've been through all the post game, and I was getting items that I have not seen yet. You know what I mean? From these, these crystals.
It's weird because we just saved, so like the only way we would have to, like, if we fuck up, we'd have to like find these items again. It's like it's a really weird time to get new stuff.
Yeah,
I think they're all. Like, from what I can tell from the fandom, it's all the items that I got as well. I think they're, like, guaranteed drops. Like, you will just get these 9 or 10 items every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it'll be a different order, but it's pretty much everyone in your party gets a good weapon, and then also there's an attribute sphere, a skill sphere, and a white magic sphere.
Yeah,
which
I
at this
did
point,
those.
like that basically just gives you like you don't have to save those for anything. Like if you didn't max out your sphere grid, you're like, oh okay, well I can just use this because I'm not going to be able to save beyond here anyway. Like
Right.
this part of the game is good for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But eventually, when we get all 9 of them, and that counter goes up to 9, oops, there goes gravity. Titus gets straight Eminem'd off of the fucking the plane, and it kind of just starts floating up toward the sky, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the screen changes to the next area, and I think this is the area that we were floating around in when we first got the suck by a sin. You remember?
Yeah, we were inside.
Yeah.
We were just swimming around, and he was having, there's like a little voiceover, and like he swims down and sees like a young him, and then I think he sees Jack, or the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. And like there's the giant Xanarkin, like flaming Xanarkin symbol in the background. It's like the hell Blitzball Stadium. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like half
the punished Blitzball Stadium.
Yeah, it's like half of a Blitzball Stadium, or the stands, right? So you see all the stands, and all of these like pieces
it's
are
all
like floating.
nosebleeds here.
Yeah, but all these like chunks of stadium are floating, and then there's like a walkway, which is where we are, and it goes to kind of a platform that's overlooking what looks like a fucking like lava pit or like an energy pit, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like floating stones everywhere. Yeah, it's extremely last area.
Very Mount Doom
of a Final Fantasy. Very Mount Doom.
Yeah.
But I like that we arrive.
Throws a Blitzball into the lava and fires it.
It's the little kid.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But we arrive, it kind of shows all the party members, and they all look surprised. And it goes to Titus and shows his face closed up, and he's like serious, like where everybody else is like, oh my gosh, he's just like, you know, very solemn. He's like ready to go. You know what I mean?
He knows that the shit has gotten real, and he is looking the realness in the face.
And it shows what he's looking at, and we don't see all of him, but we just see Jek's midsection. So we finally
we see hella
found him.
Scars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that bare chest.
And then we get one more chance to fiddle with our menus and everything like that before we go.
Oh, cool.
So,
really? I didn't even realize.
And I just want y'all to know, I didn't even get Yuna to like her last 2 white magic skills. Like I just never got there.
During this fight, it was like towards the end of it when I was like, okay, I'm making my way through it. I'm going to survive this. I realized that I had auto life with the unit, and I was like, oh, right. I used like a master sphere or something to unlock that to like start doing the monster arena stuff and make it a little easier. I was like, cool. So I have that. So now I can use it. But like, spoiler, didn't end up needing it.
So I didn't have it. I didn't have any of those extra skills. I had nothing like that. I didn't have holy. I didn't have anything. You know what I mean? Because I'm like just like rolling right along. But yeah, you get one last chance, and as you approach Jekt, and he's just Jekt ass Jekt. He doesn't look like weird or anything. It's just
he's
his
not
normal
sepia
character model.
toned. He's not memory Jekt. He's just like Jekt.
Yeah, he's just Jekt. Yeah, and he's facing away from us with his arms crossed. And as we approach him, he says,
"You're late, Orin."
And Orin just like nods and says,
"I know."
And then he finally turns around to face us, and he looks at Titus, and I love their interaction. Jekt says, "Hey," and then Titus just goes, "Hi."
I like it too because I don't know. To me, it sounded like Titus is like it did the thing where it sped up the dialogue again, where it's like, "Hi."
Yeah,
It's
it
like
does.
real
Yeah, a lot of
quick.
these sentences
Like,
feel
how
like
do you
that.
say hi in Japanese? Because I feel like that must be like a shorter sample.
It's got to be just like one, like.
Yeah.
Well, normally
if
you'd be
not
like
longer.
konnichiwa or something like that, which is longer.
Maybe still hi, but yeah.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a lot of times where like the same thing happens with the Yuna's yes, where it's like there's no his time. It's just yes.
They may just do like a confirmation where he's just like like they do like the little like grunt
The
earlier.
anime grunts.
But Jekt says
You got tall, but you're all bones. You eating right, boy? You've really grown.
and Titus says,
Yeah. But you're still bigger.
And I love that he's like you're like, oh, they are father and son, aren't they? Like,
I love that after he says, "You eating right, boy," it like has a second where like this is all very dramatic, and it's not just like character models awkwardly standing there. It's like a very cinematic and like has like different angles, and it's like building up tension of this moment.
The lighting
so
is very good too, because like Jecht is almost entirely backlit. That's the whole scene. Because he's all in shadow. It's really
so he's shadowy, yeah. But it shows Titus, and behind him, like a little, a few steps away, is just Riku looking at him after that line, and it's like Riku's like the only one who actually fed him when he was like, "I'm hungry." So she's like, "I've been trying."
She's invested in this too.
I've been trying, Sir Jex. I'm the only one.
But after Titus says, "But you're still bigger," Jex says, "Well, I am Sin, you know," which is like good.
which is really funny. That's a solid dad joke, but also not a good time. And Titus like wants none of it. Like Titus
he just
is not going to admit
funny.
that that's a good. Yeah, he just said, and like it's very serious too. Like you can hear
typical
like,
dad joke
good
to
job.
deflect.
Yeah,
what I love about it is that like we've learned that Jecht is like he's a goofball. That's what he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like he's a silly man, and so like for him to be like he is Sin, and you're having this showdown, and he's just like dad joke. You're like, yeah, that's him. That's Jecht.
This is so good. Just like.
It is. It is such a good scene. I was not like it's the last scene, but it's also like maybe my favorite scene in this game. Like the way it's done is just because it's awkward. You know what I mean? It's not like Final Fantasies end with a big gung ho rallying the troops and like, oh, this is it. We're doing it. You know what I mean? And like,
we're doing this for all the people who like Seymour wronged or whatever. And it's like, no, for this, it's like, like Jecht is Sin, and he has caused like immense suffering of the past 10 years or 100 years or whatever it's been as his time as Sin. But it's also like not his intention. Like he didn't do this intentionally. He,
it's just it's very intimate. You know what I mean? Like it isn't about like the fate of the world and all of this crazy stuff. It's just like this kid gets to see his dad for the first time in years, and like. And he doesn't like his dad. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's all framed in this very like one-on-one personal way. And I love it. Well,
it's just this. I mean, this is something I kind of related to when I was younger too, but like, it's not that like he hates his dad. He felt very let down by his dad because he does care about him because he's his dad. Because this next thing he says is like, that's not funny. And then Jecht is like, well, then, I mean, let's end this. And then Titus, the thing he said like back in that flashback is like, I want to tell him I hate him. And here's it is. He like gets to say like,
Dad.
Yeah.
I hate you.
And it's just like, it's said through tears. Like he wants to say it he's hurting because like,
and it's so quiet the way he says it too.
It's sad, man. It's powerful. Like this, like I got really choked up with this because it's like you've been waiting for this moment the entire game, and like it's finally here, and you're just like, but you don't hate him. Like you have every right to, but like also like so much information has come to light that it's like. You're finally doing the thing, and instead of it being the huge moment of "I hate you, Dad," and like like him getting like destroyed, it's just like a pathetic, sad, like not really his heart's not really in it sort of thing, and it's just like it's so good.
It's so good. It is so good.
He's been hurting this whole time, but he's looking for closure. He got it out, and even Jecht is like, I know.
Dude, Jecht's response is so good.
Like, I know. He just says, I know.
Yeah.
I know. You know what you have to do.
Yeah, it's just like Jecht knows he's kind of a fucked up father. He doesn't really know how to process his emotions.
Yeah, he's not going to be like you're an ungrateful son or anything. He's like, no, you're right. Like you have every right to. Like I don't blame you.
I just love like
it's good.
The entire game, like from the very beginning when we learned about Titus and Jecht, right? We're like the game has like kind of pitted these two against each other, where it's like that is the conflict. And then we finally get to the conflict, and both sides of them just like don't want to do it. Like they're both tired, they're both sad, and they're just like, it's actually kind of nice to see you.
Yeah, they're like
we have to like I guess kill each other now and everything, but like
because there's this complex of like closure, but also this mourning because like not just like what's about to happen that we have to like fucking take down the final Aeon, but also like mourning like all the time that we missed, all the things we could have.
Yeah.
Where we could have had a connection because they're so similar, and that's just like that's kind of what's even sadder than just like him being let down as a kid is that they didn't have time to like kind of like iron things out.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, like Jack didn't expect to go missing the way he did. Like, so for Titus, like, of course, that reads as like, oh, I was abandoned. He abandoned me and Mom, and then Mom like died because of it. But like with Jack, he was like, oh shit, like I'm in this new place and I need to get back home because like my blitzball career was kind of coming to an end anyway, and I was about to start making things right with my family. I still need to get back and do that.
Yeah,
you know, and then throughout all the Jack spheres and stuff, he started to slowly realize, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. So let me like record this and try to do this with my son. But he's like not good at it because he's never done that before. And he's not like interacting with his son directly and being able to like grow in that way. So it was just this weird stunted like, oh, I'm no good at this. Like he can't even say I love you to him, even though he wants to.
Right.
There's also a saying like,
good.
I don't know who said it, but it was like, the more you grow up, the more you like realize that you are just becoming your parents again.
Yeah.
And, like I mean, this is very literal. Like he's kind of just repeating Jack's journey, more or less.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and,
yeah, for sure.
And then there's a point in your life where you just start kind of the things you hate about your parents. Sometimes you're like, oh, these are all things that I do too, and now I have to reflect on what that means because I have a lot of these similar like fucking hang-ups. Like that's like there's a lot of just cockiness that Jack and Titus both bring to the table, but you know, Titus has probably more of his mom because his mom is probably around a little longer.
Yeah, and it's the
so
kind
he's
of
a little
thing
bit more sensitive and or more in tune with his emotions than Jack maybe.
Yeah,
and it's the kind of thing too where it's like you reach a certain age and you realize that your parents weren't these like demigod like figures or whatever, these infallible beings.
Do no wrong.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh no, they were also humans. They were also people who were going through their own shit and like may not have been like the best at certain times, but like who the fuck could be? Like,
yeah,
it's a good game.
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
So Jack says,
I can't hear the hymn so well anymore. Pretty soon I'm gonna be sin completely.
And then like Titus is just kind of like looking down at his feet. And Jack is like standing a little closer to him and he just says, I'm glad you're here now. One thing though, when it starts, I won't be myself anymore. I won't be able to hold myself back. I'm sorry. And then Titus is just like, that's enough. Let's finish this, okay? And Jack says, you're right.
And then
Jack just like turns around and starts like walking towards like the end of the platform that we're standing on, towards that like energy lava that we were talking about.
Yeah, and he says, well then, let's go. And then he does like some real Dragon Ball Z shit.
Oh my god, I thought the exact same thing when he starts like powering up.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, he's doing the Kaioken.
Oh shit.
Because he like crosses his arms in front of him. A fucking like ball of energy like lights up, and then he like stands in that like Goku power up stance or whatever.
Did he like do the whole fall backwards into like the pit thing? Into the fire?
Yeah, what is up with that? Like
that just reminds me of fucking Alien 3.
But yeah, like so he like powers up for a second and then he starts to like stumble backwards.
Yeah, because there's like a glowing energy that like starts at his like hands as he's powering up, and then it like gets into his chest, and it almost looks like it's like magnetized and being pulled back into that like energy.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So that's how I took it. It almost looks like he's trying to fight against like being pulled back there. And like as that's happening, Titus just kind of starts screaming and like running to Jack and tries like to reach out to him and like stop him, because I'm sure Titus was probably thinking like, oh, I just need to fight him as he is, like, you know, just fucking put our dukes up, you know.
But yeah, he gets pulled backward. So Titus tries to reach out to him, but it's too late. Jack falls over the end of that railing or whatever. There's no railing. It's just a platform.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah. Oh, not OSHA compliant. OSHA would have shut Sin down a long time ago. But yeah, he falls backward off that platform, and like Titus barely misses him, you know. And you have just a second of like Titus and Orin are like, oh my gosh, did that really just happen? Did he just fall off the fucking platform? And then we get the beginning of like a cutscene kind of, and it shows what's beyond the little like ruined blitzball stadium that we're on, and like what was once dark clouds shows Xanarkand, right? So it's like a giant expanse of like city and lights, and it's really pretty. It's really cool.
Yeah, all the and the city starts like lighting up.
Yeah, it starts lighting up, and the buildings start like rotating around too. Like they're like pieces of a puzzle or something, like moving. It's like very cool. I really like it.
Yeah.
But
and then in the distance, like Titus is kind of just like looking off to where Jecht like fell.
Yeah.
And then he's looking up and he sees that like Xanarkand symbol that we were talking about, like way in the beginning of the game, like being formed in like floating rocks.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, like, as we're looking at that, we just see a giant fucking hand come and grab onto the platform. And I think this is where music starts kicking in, right?
The fucking music starts immediately.
Here's why you can't hear the hymn no more. You got fucking turn down that rock music.
It plays the fucking intro theme from the game, the fucking Another World or whatever. Yeah. Other World.
Yeah.
Jung Jung. Wow. Dun dun. Wow. Dun dun.
It's so corny.
And I was like, it's so fucking stupid, but so good at the same time. Like, and in a way, I feel like, I know we haven't done these games yet, but it feels like a natural progression to me in a way of like final boss musics in Final Fantasy, because you have like 7, right, which is very like it's like very into the world orchestral, like a lot of big choruses and stuff like that. And then in the middle of the boss fights in 8, you have Maybe I'm a Lion, which starts out with like a real like,
oh yeah,
you know. And then 9, the Kuja theme is just straight up blues music. And then like they were just like, fuck it, we're going all the way butt rock. Final boss butt rock.
It's like, called U metal.
U metal. What did you put in the chat earlier? New Yevon?
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn it, it's so good.
It's that post-Yevon wave.
It's like Yevon, but there's a rapper involved in it for some reason.
Sin didn't come back. It's just called third wave Sin.
But yeah, the rest of this this gigantic hand that grabs onto the platform is attached to a gigantic creature, and over the railing it kind of like climbs up, and it's like a giant fucking like furry Aeon Jecht. It's crazy looking.
He's kind of a troll,
yeah, like
man.
And he's also on fire. He's just on fire.
A little bit.
Kind of like Ifrit, but like bigger and more like, I guess, humanoid than Ifrit.
It's got some
It's
got some scales. Yeah, he's got kind of a dragon.
Still has the bandana on, which gotta respect that.
Gotta respect that.
His face is all like scaly.
He's got
and,
the
like,
Xanarkand Abe's logo scarred into his chest again.
But it's like glowing.
Yeah. It's definitely the weak point, we can tell.
He's huge, though, by the way. He is enormous.
Yeah, he's real big.
Big fucking sword.
Well, not right yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
First
not yet.
it doesn't.
Not yet he doesn't.
Oh, sorry. Erase
That's
that.
quite
No,
all right.
He's got,
but
he's nasty looking.
dude,
He's got a
looking.
fucking beard. His beard goes all around his head.
His beard becomes
does.
like a Scott Pilgrim hood and in the jacket that Scott
this is
Pilgrim would always
all
wear.
fur.
Yeah. I will say that so during this fight, and I don't want to like without trying to skip what he looks like. I'm bringing this up to talk about what he looks like. I did use Orin's Tornado, which like lifts the enemies up into the air, so I could get a good look at all of Jecht or whatever, and like he kind of looks like a shrimp, like in some way, like the way is like he has like a robe or something on his bottom half, and it kind of makes him like it makes his bottom half look like a shrimp with like that hasn't been like husked yet or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Does he not have legs in this? Or is he like a genie?
I think he's like a genie.
He's kind of like the genie, yeah, from what I can tell from like the
oh, here's the concept
artwork.
art. Yeah, it's like oh, that's really cool.
Jug jug. Wow. Jug jug. Wow.
But yeah, before we get
he's
into
like
this fight, as we're like
genie.
yeah, as we're looking at him, it shows Titus, and Titus's face is just like extremely distressed and like upset, but he just says,
"Wouldn't you be?
I promise this will be quick." And
yeah,
then, like,
I promise this will be quick.
He swings his sword and he says, "Hit me with all you got, Dad."
Yep.
And then we're in the battle with Braska's final Aeon,
which is so badass that it's called Braska's final Aeon. I love that. Because, like, I don't know, like,
cool.
I think that's much more effective, actually, than calling it Ject, right?
Yeah, or, like, Dad.
yeah, right. Because, like, it kind of reminds you of his place in the weird cycle of, you know, Sin and Yevon and all that stuff.
It just reminds you of, like, everything that has come before. And it adds weight to it.
It does. And he is joined in battle by my two least favorite enemies in this fucking game.
The pagoda.
Yeah, these things suck. Yeah, the U pagodas, the right and the left.
Yeah. So there's like these two stone like monoliths that are like divided into like 5 or 6 sections vertically, and those sections independently spin.
The easiest Rubik's Cube.
yeah, right. Yeah, a 1D Rubik's Cube. Yeah, and like, okay, so you have these 3 elements in the fight, right? The main issue with this battle, and what makes it, I think, pretty fucking difficult, was when the pagodas get a turn, they heal Ject, and they charge his overdrive bar by like 20% or something. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they really charge him up.
It's a decent amount, yeah.
And he has an overdrive bar. Like, just like every Aeon and everything that we face that's like a summonable, he does have one of those. And like, his overdrives will fuck you right the fuck up.
Yeah.
Luckily, so he has multiple phases, and in his first phase, his overdrive only hits 1 party member, which is nice. But as we get going, it'll hit all party members and can do like double my max HP. Like, there's just no way to fucking get through it. But yeah, so another aspect of the pagodas is when they get their turn, they heal Ject of all status ailments as well. And Ject can be inflicted with like armor break and things like that. But the pagodas are really fast, so you're only going to get like 1 or 2 hits before the pagodas then heal him and he no longer has the break. So you're really kind of battling against like turns in this fight. Like, I never felt like I had enough turns.
It's not as bad as like Penance, obviously.
Right.
But it's a similar sort of thing. It's like Penance with more room for error.
Yeah.
Because like when we say like, oh, it heals Ject each turn, it doesn't heal him a whole bunch. It's not like it doesn't negate your last attack. It does like 1,500, at least it did for me. It does like 1,500 each time, which they might get 2 turns in a row of doing that, so it's like 3,000, but I'm still able to do pretty reliably quad 9s on Ject each turn, but I just don't get turns all that fast.
I could do quad 9s on a critical. Most of my hits were doing like 5,000 to 6,000 with like Auron and Waka. So like for me, it was still quite a like, god damn it, that's half of the fucking like turn that I just took. And like, if I need to heal, then like I'm gonna lose out. So like it was pretty bad for the amount of damage I was putting out on him.
Yeah, I was pretty much just doing my tried and true strategy of just double casting Ultima with Yuna.
Right.
Fucking monster.
So that would usually like stop the pagodas and also deal like good damage to get Ject. But he would still get overdrive, and then I would have to like, you know, just like sacrifice an Aeon by like summoning it, being like, well, you're probably going to die, but you can also get some damage in while fighting.
Would you like to mention the trigger commands?
Yeah.
So Titus can do a talk command during this fight, and if you use the trigger command while Ject's bar is full, it will give you a message like, oh, Ject's or Titus's voice has calmed Ject, or like it wavered his resolve, and he'll lose his overdrive.
Yeah, the first one I think is Titus's voice seems to affect Ject. Ject's power decreases.
Right, and he loses his overdrive. So you get a couple free overdrives. You get 2 like during the battle, and that's both phases. It carries over. So like, if you use your talk command to get rid of the first 2 overdrives, and then you go into the second phase of the fight, you don't get them back. Like, then he just gets to use them.
Yeah, I like that it says Ject seems torn.
Yeah, Ject seems torn is one of them. Yeah. So you do get some management options there. You also have the option to destroy the pagodas. But they don't stay down very long at all. They'll stay down like 1 or 2 of Ject's turns, and then they're back up. And they have a very, very weird HP, right? So they start out, I think they have 5,000, which isn't like too much. But when they come back, they have whatever their max HP was before, plus the difference in damage of the attack you killed them with.
Oh shit! So,
So
if you
if you
like
kill them
overkill
with-
them,
Yeah, so if you kill them with a 6,000 damage hit, the first time they come back, like say they had 1,000 HP left, you did 6,000 damage. When they come back, they'll have 5,000 additional damage because 6,000 minus the 1,000 they had is 5,000. So now they have 10,000 HP. And so like,
fuck.
if you
That makes sense. I was just like, oh, I guess every time they come back, they just like. For a second, I was like, oh, maybe they lose like max HP when they heal jacked. Like maybe that's
Yeah.
why. Like,
Yeah,
I just didn't
no, they
know.
have a
Like I had
weird-
no idea how it worked, but it got to a point where they had like 60,000 HP each, and I was like, oh god. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna ignore those things.
I couldn't handle it, and you know, straight up, like I got the Alex.
He's a cute.
He put a very cute chibi Braska's Final Aeon in the chat.
Oh
It's-
yeah, I
it's
saw
very
that in
adorable.
Google Images. Yeah.
Now, to tell you guys the truth, I have never beaten Braska's Final Aeon the right way, and I was determined to do it this time. I was like, no cheesing. I mean, and again, right way is subjective, but like,
Yeah, I mean, cheeses in this game, like we kind of had a big discussion about this, where it's like, is it really cheese to like level up with Don Tonberry because
Right,
it takes
right.
so long to get to that point, and then also like that's the only way to get you equipped to
Yeah.
being able to fight penance, and it still takes fucking hours to do.
Yeah.
It's like, is the lightning dodging thing a cheese, or is it you
Yeah.
know, like
So basically, I was trying to like not use anything overpowered. I wasn't gonna do like. I wasn't gonna like bring Anima in ready to go with an overdrive and then use Yuna's limit break and then summon Anima again, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I didn't want to do that, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to beat it reasonably, straight out of Xanarkand, no big deal, you know, no extras. And like, I've never done that before. I've never been able to beat him, and it still took me 2 or 3 tries. Like, I lost twice to him. I was just like, God damn, because he hits like a fucking truck. Like, he hits like he's crazy strong. But I did find that Protect does a world of difference when it comes to
Yo,
damage.
hell yeah.
Like, it is such a big difference. And so like hitting cheer 5 times out of the gate, because I didn't have the items to do like a mix for Riku because I hadn't done the monster arena, so I didn't have any of the items that could do like Hyper G or Ultra Null or anything.
yeah.
So I had to hit cheer 5 times. So I brought out Kamari and Titus, and everybody cheered. And I actually brought Aaron in, so I had to do some more cheering. I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, but and then I protected everybody with Yuna, and that was enough that even if Jekt got his first overdrive, he wouldn't be able to kill any of the party members. He would do almost all their damage, but not 100% of it. So like,
Yeah.
I found that to be a pretty good strategy. Yeah, how about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much did the same thing. I didn't really do like when I got into this fight, I was like, oh shit, that was a long cutscene. I don't want to have to like go through all of that again, and I don't want to have to go through the icicles and getting the items and shit.
Yeah,
I was like, I probably should have charged up some overdrives and stuff like just to, you know, just in
Have 'em
case.
ready to
But my fight just took me a very long time of just like getting close to having like never really close to a wipe, and I was always like equipped to be like, oh okay, well I can just like cure, so I can just bring someone back and slowly make my way through. I sacrificed a bunch of Aeons throughout it just to like absorb the Jekt bomber or whatever it is, his
Yeah.
overdrive, and just like managed to make my way through the fight pretty unscathed for the most part. Like Yuna is still like overpowered for where she would be if I was just going through without like trying to get her overpowered. But like you were saying, if I were to attack with Titus and Arin, like it would not do quad 9. So I was just like, okay, well I'm just gonna do the ultimate thing that I've been doing, and I like, slowly
that
made
makes
my way
sense
through.
too, especially if you can do quad 9s with single ultima and then double cast, because he only has 60,000 HP on this first form, so that's 3 hits from a double cast Yuna, right? With like 6
exactly.
HP left for anybody to just go up and smack him with.
Yeah, and the only thing that was like kind of getting hairy was I don't have like the 1 MP use thing for this. So I was just like kind of running low. I did have an item that did half MP cost. So it was basically like you get buy one get one free with the double cast.
Yeah,
like.
I did give Yuna. I had 1 stamina tonic, which doubles max HP. So I did give Yuna that.
Nice, yeah.
So she could stick in the battle the whole time. So even if she did, because she did become the subject of Jekt's initial overdrive, and she was able to survive it that way. because she had that
Yeah.
on. Which I will say, you mentioned Jekt Bomber. Jekt has 3 overdrives. He has one in his first stage, one in his second stage, and then one that he does exclusively to Aeons, if you have them out. So it actually like changes depending on.
Oh shit! I
the
did not
situation.
realize that.
Yeah.
Is one of them the ultimate Jekt shot?
Yeah, that's the one that will wipe you.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
So, okay.
glad I didn't see it, but
So let's pretend we got the first chunk of Jekt out of the way, right? Boom. We get his 60,000 HP down, and then, like Alex was saying, sword time. Like he reels. He's like clearly like he's almost in like a defeated animation to where if I was playing it the first time, I would have been like, yeah, got him, beat him, that was it, you know, final boss down. And then like a hilt of a sword pops out of his chest, and he just rips this giant fucking sword out of his body, and it's badass looking. It's like super sick.
It looks like a Ganondorf sword or something.
yeah, Ganondorf
Yeah.
sword.
For some reason, it looks like a shovel at the end of it because the hilt looks like
It does.
like a plunger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Dragon Bone Smasher in Demon Souls, except on the end, instead of being like dull and just like a hammer, it's like a guillotine blade.
Yeah, right. Oh, and when he pulls it out, the floating rocks that make up the Xanarkin symbol in the background, they light on fire too. Like for the second fight.
yeah.
It's badass. But at this point, Jekt gets a normal attack that he can do where he just swipes the whole party with his sword. And like, let's see, I actually have my HPs on screen here. So Orin has the most HP out of any of my party members. He has 3,800, and that's even with Yuna having stamina tonic. So that's like my upper limit of HP to be able to take, right, is just under 4,000. And one physical attack from Jekt where he swipes does over 3,000 damage to my whole party.
Oh my god, dude.
So like Titus and Orin would be alive, and whoever the third person was would just be dead. Like they could just not stand it. Of course, with Protect and like the cheers all set up, that number comes down.
I was like, damn, Auto Phoenix would be really nice in this fight.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, actually, Auto Phoenix would be phenomenal in this one. But yeah, I lost to. This is where I lost both times. I lost in this phase because I just couldn't keep up with like the number of turns. Because he would hit all my characters with that swipe. And then the first couple times I tried, I didn't have all my cheers up and I didn't have all my protect up, and he would kill everybody except for one person, like Orin, or one person, and Orin would be alive. So I'd spend 2 or 3 turns getting everybody back on their feet, and then his turn is up again, so he just kills one more person. And then by that point, the pagodas have already gone 4 times, and he's ready for a fucking overdrive. Like, and I'm just like, where's my opportunity? I don't have any. Like, he's just fucking me. Like, so I lost twice in a row to that.
Yeah, which makes sense because like this can really like there were a couple times where I was like, I don't want to just go in guns blazing with like really good Aeons. So I started out with Ifrit and stuff, and it was like you would just get bodied, and like you would do an overdrive and then just leave him open for like several attacks. So it would just be like the long animation of like both pagodas like healing him, and then like just waiting, and then like he attacks you, and you're like, okay, I survived that. Okay, here we go again. Okay, attack me. Okay, I survived that. Okay, it's happening again. Okay, I survived that. And then he gets like one more hit and he just takes you out. I'm like, couldn't he just fucking kill me instantly?
Yeah,
and, like,
I know what
can
you
I
mean,
fast forward through all that shit?
Yeah, I definitely did that. I one time I did bring out Anima because I was just like, fuck this, I'm so close to the end. And I didn't kill him with the overdrive. And then yeah, he just got like fucking 9,000 HP back through like 6 pagoda turns. And then he just killed Anima using just regular attacks the whole time. And by the time that Anima was dead, he's like 1% away from getting another overdrive because I had to sit through all those fucking pagodas.
Yeah.
So I was just like, what the fuck? But I wanted to share with you all what I think is the best move in the game, because the third time I played it, I was like, all right, it's time to get inventive. And I'm proud of myself for not looking this up online, right?
Hell yeah.
But there is a move that, in my opinion, trivializes this fight. I mean, makes it a non-issue. And I've never used it before. And like, it was like an early move that I got, and I was just like, oh my god, it's the best. So do you know what all these motherfuckers can be, are like weak to? slow.
Oh,
they can all be slowed.
Damn.
And when they go slow, they go slow.
Slow is one of those things that I was like, I could have swore I tried to slow him. Maybe it was a different.
Well, you can
thing.
do the pagodas. You can get the pagodas.
Okay,
Sorry,
because
yeah.
I think I tried to cast slow on him and he was immune. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But yeah, slow, like if there's an enemy that can be slowed, like if you have haste on everyone in your party and someone slowed, like that would have really helped. Holy shit.
Yeah, because like to me the challenge is the pagodas. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so casting slow on them, it was like it was rare when their turn would come around. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, the pagodas, I forgot they're a part of this fight, because like multiple turns of mine and Jex would go by, and then the pagodas would get a turn instead of them getting like 2, every time a set of my party got it. So like that was the game changer. It was using Sloga. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I did not split my save.
So Alex attacked twice and
I
won.
attacked once with Orin and then Oblivion and the second one.
That's the name of the game, baby.
Yeah, I
should
remember
also
you
say
were like,
that,
I accidentally beat the game.
Jekt also, I didn't mention this, he has an attack called Jekt Beam that
It's very funny.
hits you with multiple status effects. So that's also a thing you're dealing with.
Oh, okay. I think I only got hit with that, luckily, by Aeons, or it killed my party members. So I was like, oh, okay, sick.
Oh, so, Jekt Beam, if it kills a party member who doesn't have status ailments, there's a chance it will petrify and break them on the same turn.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Which happened to me. I was like, what?
That did not happen to me. Maybe I had like stone-proof armor on or something.
The second and third time I came in, I did.
Yeah, like maybe that was just something where I'm like, well, all my armor is garbage, so I'll just have this on. Like I'm pretty sure Arin might have had that. I think at one point I did have in the second phase, I think I did have Lulu get petrified a couple of times, but I was able to just like use Asuna or Soft.
Right. But yeah, so there's plenty of challenges, but I would say go in with stone-proof armor and ready to use Sloga, and that is like primo strats. Got him.
I'm trying to remember if the pagodas use Osmos, which fucking sucks if you're relying on magic.
If you take out one pagoda and not the other one, it will either use Drain or Osmos.
Yeah, so Osmos kind of, became it became an issue but at the same time it didn't, because Osmos drained Yuna, and I'm like, well, I need that for Ultima. And then I was like, oh, wait, I have like 9 turbo ethers that I've been saving for like, like customizing or something. I'm not customizing shit anymore. Like every single one of these items I can use and feel no guilt. Like it was very freeing.
Yeah, I do like
just,
going up against
that.
like final bosses in like Final Fantasy games and just being like, okay, this is what I saved all those items for. Like it's Mega Phoenix time,
Yeah. There was a point where I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm getting goofy with it. I have Riku's Overdrive ready to go. I'm gonna mix 2 Lux Spheres and see what happens.
What does happen?
It was a miracle drink.
Okay.
Which I don't know what it does because it didn't help me in the fight at all.
But yeah, that's Braska's final Aeon.
Yeah.
And I would say, in a manner of speaking, the final boss of the game.
Yeah, for sure the final boss of the game, because
like
I think the worst thing that can happen to you is maybe a soft lock, but probably not even that.
So you could suicide on the final ones if you attacked yourself, but like aside from that.
Yeah. Then what happens?
Yeah, Miracle Drink increases critical hit rate of all allies, which in this fight means nothing because I'm already doing the max damage that I can do.
So would you guys like to take a break before we get on to the endo things?
Yes. Yes, I would.
All right.
I would.
And we're back.
We're back.
Jack's out for the count.
Just killed Jack finally.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for a good, wacky, non-serious time.
Yeah, we need to have like fart noises, like very like obviously soundboard ones, not even like realistic
Son
ones.
pranks dad.
It's the way Jack would have wanted it, I think.
Yo, that's
like, hey, Titus talks to him, and he's just then like. Jack uses a talk command, and it's like, "Hey, son,
I hate you. I'm dead."
pull my finger." You pull it, and then everyone in your party gets poisoned because he farts.
That sucks about your kaiju dad, but I'm different.
He creates a mimic chest, and when you open it up, a bunch of like rubber snakes pop out.
I will love some nuts. Thanks.
Would you like to smell Jack's flower? Why, yes, I would.
But yeah, so we beat BFA, Broska's final Aeon.
Big fucking asshole.
Big fucking asshole.
Bachelor of Fine Arts.
And immediately the next cutscene begins, right? So it shows like you see Jecht again in his human form, like he's been returned to his human form, and he just slowly starts to collapse, right? And like Titus runs up to him and kind of grabs him and holds him in his arms, and it's very like touching, you know?
Yeah, like Aaron like starts to run to grab him, and then Titus just like takes off and grabs him.
Yeah, and this line, it's like a good line, but like once again, the voice actors have to deliver them so quickly that it makes all the lines very weird sounding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Jecht's talking to Titus because he's like laying in his arms now, and he says,
"You'll cry. You're gonna cry. You always cry. See? You're crying."
And like, which is like very emotional. It's like it's very powerful.
Sad, yeah.
And like the delivery is like, "You'll cry. You're gonna cry. You always cry. See, you're crying." And it's like, oh, like very weird.
It's like a fucking episode of Gilmore Girls is happening.
And like, and then there's an FMV for just a moment where we see Titus crying, and it's like, oh, I can't watch other people cry. It's gonna make me cry. And he just says, like with a little more energy, but like he's saying it through tears. He says,
"I hate you, Dad."
Yeah, I started tearing up at this point.
Yeah, dude, it's really powerful. And Jecht says,
"Save it for later."
Right. We've got a job to do, don't we?
And like, I guess Jecht's fine to an extent because he just sits up, like he's like, feeling better now.
It's like when an Aeon gets summoned after like two of your party members are knocked out. They like slowly get up and run away, and then they run back in after the Aeon is dismissed, and they just fucking collapse again. It's pretty funny when sometimes like when your party wipes in a certain order, and it's like on a battlefield where like with a Tonberry or something, where like someone is like ahead of someone else and just laying there and then like collapsed, and then like if they get revived they like stand up and then they like turn around and run back.
Yeah, they have to run back to their position.
I love when this game does that.
Yeah. But Jecht sits up and says, "Good, that's right. You are my son after all." And Titus says, "For the first time, I'm glad to have you as my father." And I was like, "Oh, give me that good closure. Give me that shit. I love it. I eat it up." I love it.
Yeah, and then Yuna starts talking, and she says, "Sir Jecht, I should," and Jecht says, "No, Yuna, there's no time," and like kind of just like looks up beyond like what they're seeing, and then we see behind Yuna, and we see like our party's like kind of looking around, and Waka like looks up, and there's this like glowing just like orb, I guess, of like
it's like
black,
not like, glowing, where it's glowing,
it's
but it's glowing. It's glowing darkly.
It's voiding.
Yeah,
it's
we see a weird void that's like swirling with like red energy and shit.
Yeah, it's very menacingly, and it's just a ball. It's like it's tiny. It's like a meter in diameter, right? It's not like huge or anything like that. But like there is just this. Ever since we beat Broska's final Aeon, like actually like when we beat it, as it's like fading out, we see that ball come out of Broska's final Aeon. I should have mentioned that before Jecht becomes his normal form. And yeah, it's just floating around during this whole scene, and it's just kind of been like not even like it's like pseudo menacing because it's kind of a cute little sphere, but it's like again glowant. It's like dark energy. It's weird.
It's menacing in the way that like if you take a picture of like a quote unquote haunted area and you see orbs, it's like menacing in that respect.
Yeah. And like Titus waves at it and says, "Stay away.
Stay away from the summoner."
Yeah. Jecht says, "You know what to do. The Aeons." And then you see Baby Bahamut behind Yuna appears and says, "We Aeons," and Jek says, "Call them," and the Faith says, "Call us." And then
Jek dissolves into fireflies.
Yeah. And then,
he like falls over and just becomes hella pyre flyers. Flies.
Pyre Flyers. That's the Philadelphia ones.
But yeah, then Yuna just kind of like we get this cool shot where we see like the orb kind of getting closer to us, and like the sword that Braska's final Aeon was using against us is just like stuck into the ground at like the end of the platform that we're standing on. And then it just shows Yuna, and she looks like pretty upset, like for good reason. And she just says yes. And then
Lulu looks up at that ball and says, "It comes." Or she says, "Here it comes." Yeah.
Yeah.
And the orb fuses with Jek's sword, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're transported one last time.
Yeah, we're transported again to the top of the sword, which means either we got smaller or the sword got bigger.
We get transported to final destination, no items. Fox only.
Yeah.
Because like it is in the middle of like a void, right? Like it's like just weird like energy that's all around us. There's no apparent up or down. And it's just we're all on this giant sword now.
Yeah, and the
pagodas are there.
The fucking pagodas are there. You know what? I thought I had enough of them the first time.
Fucking things. So like all of our party kind of just like gets to their feet gradually.
Yeah, I was gonna say one last time in this game, Titus wakes up from being passed out or whatever. Like,
yeah.
How many times is one last time we finally get to do it again?
Yeah, and he just shouts and says Yuna, and then like we're in the battle, and like the camera is just like circling around Yuna. She's holding her staff, and then we get prompted for summoning.
Yeah,
and
like,
I was like,
this,
hell yeah! I was like, one last Pokemon battle, let's go!
Yeah,
and then I quickly realized what was happening, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredibly sad.
Because during this, that ball is still floating around, right? Like it's still kind of
left the final Aeon, yeah.
Yeah, it left the final Aeon, and it's kind of taken us to this weird nether world or whatever, and we begin what is truly the final fight of the game. But yeah, like you said, we get a prompt. We see all the names of the summons on the screen, which I love because this is a very emotionally tense scene. And I'm just looking at a list of Jimothy, Kermit, Fixion, the Scatman. I guess I just kept Bahamut. I don't know why. Whatever. The Big Show, Yohimbo, and then the Mega Sisters, because I guess you have to name them individually. But I was just like, I really took the gas out of it with that.
So this is like, I guess this is the plan that they mentioned we were on the airship, that we are, since we didn't bring a bigger final Aeon for you, Yevon, to possess, we are basically kind of like snuffing it out.
Right.
By basically just, all right, we're just going to give you no host if you Yevon's the parasite. We're just going to get rid of every possible host, so you Yevon has literally nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah. And so if we start at the beginning and we summon Valefor, we see it because we summon Valefor out. It gives us the summon animation, and then we see the text possessed by you, Yevon, and that orb like descends on Valefor and turns it into Dark Valefor, but like it's not as bad as
it's not a Dark Aeon fight in the optional boss fight thing. It's very easy, or at least it was for me. I don't know how this
I think it has like 3,000 HP. It's very low.
I don't know how it scales in terms of like difficulty if you have maxed out Aeons or anything. I'm assuming probably not that much, because like, spoiler alert for this fight that we're about to do, everyone in your party just has permanent auto life.
You have permanent auto life.
I got like, I was just trying to see what was going on in the fight, and I had like one of my characters die. This was when I remembered like, oh shit, Yuna has auto life, I can probably use this if I need to. I had like just thought of that, and then like Riku got knocked out, and then she like woke up, and I was like, oh, weird, auto life? I don't remember doing that. And then I looked to like cast it on her again, and she already had it, and I was like, oh yeah, this fight is just like mandatory win, basically.
It's like a mandatory win,
because it's
like,
more of just like, it's like an interactive cutscene, because basically what's happening is like if you have scope on and you can see like information about the Aeons, they all say something different.
I love it. I love it. I took pictures of all of them.
I missed Valfor's, but I noticed it with Ifrit, and I was just like,
yeah.
Oh my god, this is like we're like euthanizing our Aeons right now.
Yeah. If you have sensor on, Valfor says, "Strike me down."
Yeah.
Wow.
Is the description.
I will knock you down.
But yeah, and we see the pagodas are here too, and they are doing the same thing they've always been doing. They heal the Aeon, and then they give it more of its overdrive bar, and it can cast an overdrive on you, but you'll still get auto lifed up.
Yeah, and I don't.
It's also worth mentioning they are discolored, kind of similar to the Dark Aeons. Right?
That's what I was saying. It's the Dark Aeon model.
Like it didn't seem as menacing to me in some of them. Like the Dark Aeon ones
like
have like
shift or something
blood.
like that.
Yeah, it's like a typical RPG. Like, oh, you're fighting the more powerful version, so he's purple now. Like,
yeah.
But when they transform, it is really cool because they go into like a very like N64 kind of like model where like as they're transforming into like the different
they
like,
Alex Mack.
yeah, they turn to like a purple Alex Mack. So I love that. I'm like, I want like an action figure of just that, like transformation.
I will say toward the middle of them, like when I got so many down, when I was getting to like Yojimbo, their evasion is really fucking good. Like I wasn't able to hit them with fucking anybody.
It's really hard to hit them, but like
throw grenades.
Throw a grenade.
Well, I ended up doing what the speedrun does eventually and was just like, fuck it, Gil toss. Like, spare change.
Oh, yeah, you can just use spare change. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have enough money, you can literally just throw your money the whole way through this fight and just throw exactly the HP that you need to kill them and just roll to the next one.
Yeah, pretty much every single... I fucking hate how this game is pay to win, by the way. Everything is just like, you need Gil to do the ultimate thing. But yeah, I was just using Ultimate, and on a majority of them, I didn't even need to use Double Cast. And also, like, I think for a few, I had Riku out at this point, and was using, like, Blessed Gems, which just cast Holy on them.
Yeah.
So, which I guess using Holy is kind of, like, thematically fitting.
We didn't really talk about it too much during the Penance fight, but this has the same battle music.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like a super
awesome.
Like, I don't even want to call it discordant. It's almost like they added so many harmonies to the Hymn of the Faith.
Yeah,
it's really, really good.
Womp 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 womp. But they like layered it so much that it's like very discordant.
It's not. See, the thing is, like, I don't feel like it's discordant.
It reminded me of like an auto-tune harmonizer kind of thing, where like it's all in key, but it's just so unnaturally like stacked.
Yeah,
it's spooky,
I think it retains some of its adventurousness. Basically, what it sounds like to me is it has the same emotional quality as like one of the hurry songs from one of the other Final Fantasies, where it's like, oh shit, time to hurry, you know, or like the TikTok song from fucking 7.
Yeah.
Like it gave me that like
kind of reminded me of the when we hear Maester Micah arrive with the Luca, we hear like the brass section of him, the blah 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 blah. It's a little shrill and kind of more alien sounding than normal, not very I know, not tight and human. It's very it's unnerving.
There's a lot to it. It has like maybe like the feeling of like seeing real angels descend down and fucking, you know, the end of the world kind of shit. Like it's very good.
It's real good.
Real good. Like
but
congratulations to the fucking sound team on this one. Like,
y'all knocked it out of the park. But yeah, not really too much to say about these Aeon fights, I feel like, right? Like it's pretty much just
with the exception of those fucking scan
that's what I mean. I want to get into those, but like in terms of like the mechanical battle thing, like you just kill the Aeon.
The only one that I thought had like something kind of neat going on with it was the Magus Sisters, because once you knock out one of them, they obviously can't do their Delta attack, but the pagodas still keep charging them, and if they get individual overdrives, they'll use like Razia and Pasado and those kind of thing.
I was wondering about Razia. I didn't at this point, like I had been it had taken me so long to get here that I was just like, I'm ready for this game to end. I wonder if Razia it probably doesn't have the thing where it will negate auto life, because that would be a pretty big fuck you. Like,
and neither does Zanmato.
Okay. Nice.
I do have the sensor descriptions here.
Yeah. So I have them all as well. So when you summon Ifrit, and this was the first time I saw this, like I didn't know that this was a thing. It was like the second thing I summoned, and it just says "extinguish me," and I was like,
"Oh, that's so good,
dude!"
And after
like,
you beat each Aeon, like you have to pick the next one from the list, but it shows Yuna, and she like increasingly looks pained by each one. Like
like everyone is very painful to do, and it's funny how like functionally throughout the entire game I have been doing this. I've been like, well, we got a really bad overdrive coming our way. The only way I'm going to make it out of this battle is by summoning Ifrit to sacrifice him and like leaving him for dead. But like, this is just like, oh no, this is you are.
Yeah, they're never coming back.
They are never coming back. Like, and it's
such a weird like inversion. Yeah, like we're summoning them to kill them, not to like have.
And
them
they're
us,
and they're asking this of us. Yeah,
it's such a flip. It's so dark.
It goes back to the conversation with Baby Bahamut where he's like, yeah, the faith has been doing this for a long time. Like we really want to sleep. Like you should let us sleep.
Yeah.
And it's just coming to that where
viciously fucking killing us.
Like it's really good. And again, the spiral of death, like just in a different way than we have experienced it before. It's like the everything is spiraling now in terms of like the whole Church of Yevon, all the Aeons, all the faith, and all of that. But it's giving a new chance for Spira.
Right. Yeah, and like there's also this just like added menace too of like while we're doing this, Yevon just keeps popping out of one and then getting absorbed into the next one, and it's just like, you parasite bastard, stop it.
I think it's also worth noting that auto life is a little different aside from like you not needing to like cast it, but the animation itself has like a little baby angel like fly down from the heavens to like bring you back to life each time. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this before, and I used auto life quite a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think it appeared in the other parts. Yeah,
it looks like it's probably modeled after an angel from like one of like the retro 2D games because it has kind of like a spritey kind of proportion nature to it. It's kind of like the Onion Knight with the
yeah.
But if you summon Ixion, its sensor description is "end it right here." So it's like, oof. What else we got?
Bahamut just says soon eternal rest.
That one's dark.
We've talked to Bahamut enough.
Shiva's is please defeat me.
I kind of wish Yojimbo said like it's time to pay the price.
Oh, that would be good.
But he just says take my life, please.
Which is also pretty cool.
Anima's is really good because we know that that's Seymour's mother, right? And she has like a sense of guilt about everything, and her sensor message is "Thus I atone." And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, Shiva says, please defeat me, which isn't super interesting, I guess. One weird thing that I mean, it does make sense in terms of mechanics, but I like, you can still summon with Yuna if you have other Aeons, so you can still fight, like you can make your Aeons kill your other Aeons.
I think I just had Anima just take everyone down until I had to get rid of Anima.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And it's like, Yevon can only possess like one at a time, unless it's the Magus sisters, which is a gray area on that, I guess. But
they have an unbreakable bond.
I think the other thing is each of these battles is individual.
Paradigm of their sisterhood. I'm trying to think of the quote from the Cactuars about their brothers.
Right.
Yeah. 3 little Mega sisters are running in the sand. Each of these battles is a separate battle, even though it's all like one cohesive like thing that seems like it's seamless. The reason I know that is because I would like I started the battle, I'm like gonna haste my way through all of this, and then after the next summon, I no longer had haste, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
And I know this too because I was using Ultima, which is very costly with MP. So I was just throwing 3 stars each time to make sure that I could not get osmosed to hell.
Can I be a bad podcaster real quick and like ruin our flow? I just wanted to say, because you mentioned it's a new battle every time, and I was like, oh, you know what I forgot to mention about Broska's final Aeon? You'll always start with Titus, Yuna, and Auron. I just thought that was neat.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. I just assumed they were in the front of my party, and then I was like,
Me too.
That's the most fitting party to take this guy down, so I'll use that.
Anyway, sorry.
That's completely fine. That's a good point.
But yeah, once we take out the last Aeon, which, like, you know, depending on how you're playing the game, you may not even have the Mega Sisters or whatever, right? Like, the last one might be Bahamut or something.
Yeah.
But once we take them all out,
oh wait, did we go over the what the Mega Sisters say?
Oh yeah, I don't think we did. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's really good. Hang on, I'm pulling it up right now.
Cindy says, "Stop the suffering,"
which is fucking dark.
Sandy's is "Don't cry."
That one hit hard.
And then my favorite one is Mindy. So she just says, "Gotta say goodbye."
Adios, amigo.
Yeah.
Let's go, escargot.
Once we defeat the last one, Yevon, the ball, like, kind of floats around in the air again, and it's like, it seems like it's looking for something else to possess, right? Like, because it's just a ball. Yeah, it's just a ball, but, like, I don't know, it feels to me like it's looking around for something
like a
else.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Well, then, then there's pagodas, pagogo, right? Or is no way that's
we don't do anything yet. Yeah, but we finally see
these balls are making me testy, which could work as a sound drop in here because it just sounds like Waka's saying it.
These balls are making me testy.
But then we finally get to see Yevon's true form, and
this is how I imagine
it.
God looks as well.
Yeah, which I love. I love this, by the way. Like, we kind of just discussed it with meeting Jecht about how, like, it subverts some expectations by, instead of having this big epic clash, it's a very small and intimate one. I love the subversion again of, like, God incarnate, like sin, you know what I mean? The thing that's kept the world in peril for thousands of years or whatever is like a tick. It's like a bug, right?
It's a parasite, yeah.
It's just a parasite. Like, it's disgusting, but, like, not disgusting enough to be like an eldritch horror. It's just it just reminds me of a tick. That's what I thought he was. I was like, yeah, he's a tick. He burrows into you, and then just like that. Like,
when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this kind of just looks like Majora's Mask. Like,
yeah. It also has, like, the Yevon A for a face, like one of the letters, which is very interesting. And it's weird. I don't know. I love it. I love this because it's not very big.
It's super
either.
cool. Yeah, it's they could have easily done the thing, the gigantic, monstrous thing.
It's just a Kabuto.
Yeah, it's just a Kabuto.
It's just a little guy, and, like, I don't know. Like, it reminds me of, like, the feelings that I had the first time I beat, like, Dark Souls. Where, like, you're like, okay, I've fought the biggest things in the universe. They're all gigantic. And you go fight Gwyn at the end, and he's, like, tired old man.
Yeah, and it's just, like, not the most difficult fight. And you're like, oh, I thought this was going to be the hardest one of all.
I'll tell you what, before I learned to parry, he was pretty fucking tough.
Yeah, of course. He's fast, but it's still like, oh, shit, I'm fighting this dude at the end of his... Like, he's at the end of his rope. He's not at his full power. He's at the end of his rope,
yeah.
And like, I can't imagine fighting him when he was at his full power.
Yeah, and, like, Yevon kind of reminds me of that, too. Like, he's been doing this song and dance for so long that, like, it's like, who was saying it? I think it was Baby Bahamut was saying that he's, like, neither good nor evil. He's just a bug, just doing what a bug does, right?
Yeah.
At this point. It's, like, sad. It's sad in a way, because you're just like... That's not even a person anymore. It
kind of adds to, like, the, I guess, the kind of design of, like, the sin scales when we first saw them. They are just, like, parasites or, like, an invasive species.
Yeah.
It all kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I just like this idea that, like, where there was once intent and there was, like, once grandiosity. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, Yevon was summoning this to, like, preserve Zanarkand and to defeat Bavel, and there was a very, like, grand purpose to it. Like, it like meant something to, like, the people and to the faith and to Yevon himself, and now it doesn't. None of it means anything. It's just a bug riding on the back of a great big animal. That's all it is.
Yeah,
and I love it.
It's really fucking cool.
I'm sure there's, like, an allegory in there somewhere about just, like, any religion or following is only, like, as powerful as, like, its followers are, like, basically the host in this in this point. It's just like it grows and grows and grows. Yeah, it's just kind of just a chaotic neutral force.
Yeah, like
that just swallows everything.
The good messages and things that exist, or that started all of this, like the good intent that started all of this, has just kind of eroded away, and now it's just like only the punishment, only the the worst parts of the like religion still exist, instead of it being for some greater good.
Yeah, which I mean, like, wasn't for the greater good of Bavel, but at least it was for somebody. Yeah.
But at least they stood for something, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, so before we get into it with them, Titus addresses the rest of the characters, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, this is the last time we fight together, okay?
Huh?
What I'm trying to say is, after we beat you, Yevon, I'll disappear.
And then, I said this about Waka's dumb face in Cenubia Desert. I take it back. This is the best cut and close-up in the fucking game. the camera, like, when Lulu says, "What are you talking about?" And as she says that, the camera zooms and pans to the right over Titus's face, and he looks like a fucking, like, dumb fish. It's the funniest goddamn thing. Like, it's like the most tonally inappropriate cut you could possibly make during, like, I don't know that I could have made a funnier, like, fucking, like, Pee Wee Herman ass fucking, like, really, like, cut during it. And the way he's, like, half smiling, and he's, like, just, like, not even looking at anything. He's, like, not looking at anyone. He's just, like, it has this neutral smile, and, like, it kills me every time I see it. I'm just like, God damn it, Final Fantasy X. You were so close. You were so close to clutching it.
Yeah, like they can make his face look not stupid. They just had a bunch of that in the last scene.
But yeah, she says, "What are you talking about?" And we see Yuna close up, and you see that, like, she knows that she was right. She called it out beforehand when we were on the Fahrenheit, and she was like, "Yeah, I know what you're up to, Titus. Like, I think I know what's going on.
Yeah, you're a bad liar."
Yeah, and I think that, like, she now knows that, like, yeah, she was right about it. And Titus kind of runs out front, pulls out his sword, and says, "I'm saying goodbye." And Riku says, "Not now." And he says, "I know it's selfish, but this is my story." And then we get into the last fight.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that was the beginning of the game, right? Like, when we first started the game, in the first cutscene, he says, "Listen to my story." And it's like, oh, okay. They're bookending it. Very nice. Is good. Is good.
That's good V-gaming.
Yeah.
But, yeah, then we get into
real sad.
But yeah, we get to the final fight with you, Yevon. And it's another non-losable one. You still can't lose. Or you still have, like, auto life.
Yeah,
but,
it could just take a lot longer, because basically he has...
Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
He has 5 9s of hit points, and he will always counter with Curaga, which will be 4 9s.
Yes.
So at this point, the max I can do is 4 9s. So as soon as I attack him and do the maximum amount of damage that I can, he just hits Curaga and is back to what he was. But I think he does have limited MP, and will use, like, Osmos. So I think even if you were to, like, come in fully unprepared and, like, can't get around this, like, I was just using double cast, so it was like, oh, okay, it's kind of slow. But yeah, it's pretty manageable. Does he have any attacks or anything?
Yeah, he can use Gravija.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he can use a gravity attack. I don't even know if he, like, hit my party at all.
Time to Google.
You could also just use, like, Reflect, and so he just ends up curing you.
Yeah,
well, okay, I was going to ask, because, like, what I ended up doing was using Reflect so that he couldn't heal himself. But I was like, what if I didn't have Reflect? Like, what if I came in here and didn't have that skill? What would happen?
So I did something else when I was like, okay, he's healing himself every turn. I think I can probably, like, eventually, like, whittle him down if I want to sit here forever. And I was like, but I learned the lesson that the game was trying to tell me in the fight with Seymour Flux and the fight with Unalesca. I'm going to try and use Zombie.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So what I ended up doing was, luckily Kamari had a weapon that had Zombie Touch, and I just did that. And after, like, so he was doing 4 9s of damage to himself each turn every time I hit him, And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to lay it on a little even more thick. And then I used regen with Yuna and cast it on him. So he was doing like 13,000 damage to himself each turn.
Yep. Did you do anything else to him?
I don't think so.
Because there is a hilarious way to take out Yu Yevon.
Oh, I did end up. I was like, I don't feel like waiting for his shit to go down. I'm just gonna use life on him.
He's also susceptible to Doom.
Oh, Doom is hilarious. But I was gonna say, yeah, a Phoenix down or life. You just zombie him and then fucking throw a Phoenix down, and it does the thing. Like the thing that's in every Final Fantasy game. Like it just beats him. Like I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's so good.
I also used bio on him for one last time. And so he was doing hella damage to himself, and then I'm like, okay, I already won this fight. Here, life.
When he uses Gravija, it hits him too. That's another thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's like one of the strategies. If you just make sure the pagodas aren't doing anything, he'll eventually just whittle himself down until he only has like 1 HP left.
And then you just take him out. That's amazing. Yeah, and that's the thing is that like I love this. I love this as the final fight in the game because like we've overcome all these things and like. The last boss is one that can't even attack without hurting himself. Like, he's so weak. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. Because Sin is, like, the biggest monster that any Final Fantasy has had up to this point. You know what I mean? Like, he's the bigness. And, like, he's ruined the entire world for over 1,000 years. You know what I mean? Like, just violence incarnate. And then when we get right down to it and we're fighting the thing that controls Sin, it's so weak that it can't even attack without doing quad nines to itself.
Yeah, it's a Magikarp.
It's a Magikarp. Like, a Magikarp is controlling it. Like, it's incredible. It's just good storytelling.
Yeah, like, the wiki is like... I wonder if the program... Like, a lot of people, like, did the programmers, like, make a mistake about having him not be invulnerable to status effects? Like, I think it's actually just more, like...
It's
more good storytelling. Like, it's just intentional. Like, no, he's pathetic without. It's like the Wizard and Wizard of Oz, you know, when you behind the curtain, he's a nobody. He's just a fucking bug.
Yeah, and that's like incredible storytelling.
I feel like I should have had Waka out for this. To be like, this is what you were racist for, you motherfucker.
I did have Waka out, and I was like, because I've done this for the last 2 games, I always care about what is the last move that I use in a video game, because I feel like it's like, I don't know. And he was the only one that had an overdrive. So like I was like, you live by the blitzball, you die by the blitzball. Kate Sith would be proud we're using slots. Like so like I hit him, I hit him, I took him out and both of the pagodas by using the fucking fire slots or whatever with Waka. I was just like, got him, did it, that was it, baby, KO.
Yeah, man, let's not slot shame.
That's extremely fitting for Spira.
Yeah, right. But that's all there is to it, right? There's really not like he's not tough on purpose. It's great. Yeah.
It's a really good. I mean, like everything leading up to this was pretty tough. Like if you think of the last boss as just this, like obviously you're like, oh, that's lame. But like, no, we had to fight Sin in the air, cut off both of his wings, down him so that he was on top of the fucking city that we had to like lay siege on and then escape from, and then we finally go inside of Sin and fight all the worst monsters we've ever had. We have to travel through
beat Seymour,
all kinds of weird, weird dimensions and shit. Fight Seymour again for some reason, and then kill Jekt, and then
in a way, like it feels more realistic than most JRPGs where like the final guy is just like this most unbeatable thing. Is more like, no, we're whittling this giant thing down by kind of like we're just pruning bits and pieces down the way, so he's actually getting weaker as we get farther and farther in.
Yeah, you know, to me it also adds like, and this might just be me like reading into it too much or whatever, but to me it does add a sense of like senselessness to it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
This is the guy, like we let Spira be ruined for thousands of years, or like a whole religion is based around worshiping this dude. Like this dude who's like so weak and pathetic. Like it adds a very like, oh, what was it all for kind of feeling to it, to me.
That's bringing to mind a movie that I can't think of right now, but I remember there was a very like cool moment where there's like the big bad guy or whatever is like facing off to some like badass who's about to die. I can't remember specifics, but he's like, oh, we just made such a big deal out of you. And like he was like laughing in that guy's face.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
That's good. I love
It's
I
cool
love that
though.
shit.
That's really
so
cool.
good.
And I think this is more effective than just being like, oh, here's you, Yevon. He has 1 HP. Like, because that's functionally the same thing, but they conveyed it in a much better way of it being like, yeah, he
agreed.
can still live. Like, he's still like fighting to the end, and it might take you a little while, but
You can kind of get an idea of how this maybe started if he's like just strong enough to kind of like
it's like a slow
start
decay.
snowballing.
Yeah, it's just a slow
Yeah.
decay that inevitably just becomes like, oh, there is no challenge here.
Yeah. It's good. It's
Good. Good video game.
Good. But he also, like any good boss, has a fantastic death sequence too.
Oh yeah.
Where like he begins to like kind of shake and rupture apart, and then the two pagodas. So like I was saying, they kind of rotate. They have like bits and pieces that rotate like Rubik's cubes. They both align themselves, right, so that they're in like the correct orientation. Like they're one stone device now, and they position themselves on the side of you, Yevon, on either side of him. And then after like a bunch of energy is built up, they just smash together and like I guess crush you, Yevon, or trap him inside this like stone monument in a way. And like that monument then like raises up in the air, everything becomes black and white, and it just slowly fades to dust, and it's incredible.
It bursts like a supernova, and there's just a bunch of light just like emanating out from it. And like if you look closely, you can just see little like specks of like dust or just, you know, like whatever, like just like bursting out from it. So it's like it just became nothing.
Yeah, it's incredible. What a good ending. Oof.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's going to be where we end it today. And
There's
then,
a lot of good stuff kind of
There's still a lot to talk about, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot
especially
of
with
good stuff.
these closing scenes that are mostly
Yeah.
just cutscenes and FMVs, which we will unpack next week, right?
Yeah.
I am so excited because next week we are going to unpack the ending cutscenes and announce what game we're playing next. It's always my favorite. God, I love it. I love it so
We're
much.
finally going to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
That's right.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater X2. The one with Donald Duck.
But
Oh,
yeah,
man.
So
I'm
looking
like-
forward to that one.
I don't even have like anything funny to say. I'm like emotionally like
very
drained in
heavy-
a good way
yeah.
from this.
This is a very heavy episode, and we haven't even gotten to like the heaviest shit yet.
Guys,
Yeah, right.
Every episode of this podcast was like saying goodbye to one of those aeons.
Yeah,
It made me so sad.
yeah.
Oh.
It's
Which means our final episode is going to be the weakest shit ever.
We just do damage to our own podcast by recording it.
I like to imagine Yuna as like Bahamut's there and like possessed by you, Yevon. She's just like, come on, get Casey. I don't want you anymore. Go on, like
dropping him off by the side of the road.
swinging a broom at him. Go on, get.
But yeah, we'll unpack the end of this game, give our last thoughts on FF10, announce the next game that we're gonna play. And I'm very, very excited for it, and I hope you are too.
I am very excited for it.
Ugh, it's gonna be good.
It's been a ride.
If you we should kind of make this fun. Tweet at us or like talk to us in Discord. We're not going to confirm or deny anything, but you should let us know what game you think we're going to do next.
So that we can say you're wrong.
Yeah, we're going to just always say you're wrong, even if you're right. But that was kind
we'll
of
only
the most fun
respond
thing.
in Simpsons GIFs. And you'll have to take that with what you will.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
And if you want to, relive the magic, go visit our friend Ashwin, who's playing for the first time on
It's been very,
our
very
Twitch. It's
fun
been
to
very
watch.
fun kind of seeing someone play a Final Fantasy for the first time. It's been cool.
She's about to get to some good bits. Maybe in like however many weeks or months it takes for her to be caught up and finish the game, she'll be listening to this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she's been doing that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So you can always check the VODs. There's been some pretty fantastic moments.
She's been getting into Blitzball. It's very nice.
She's been playing a lot of Blitzball, even though she doesn't really have like a team equipped for it, and like
she's really
is enjoying
she's making
it
me
begrudgingly.
think about it. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's been really cool. One of my favorite things that happened on her stream was she recently got to the Spheromorph fight and just got like super lucky with it. And like ended up doing a Galaxy Brain strat where she like immediately summoned Ifrit, and it just so happened to be right as Spheromorph transformed to do fire type moves. So she was just laying into Spheromorph as he was throwing fire at her and just healing Ifrit. So like she just like checkmated him immediately. And then after she did that, she was like, "Oh, that was really cool." Everyone in her chat was like, "Oh my god, like what happened?" Like that was
as
like
soon as she
never
pulled that effort, like, "Oh my god, I don't know why I never thought of this."
Yeah, and she was just like, "Wait, is that fight usually hard for people?" And we were like, "Yeah, this is how it works." And she was like, "Oh, that was awesome."
That's amazing. Well, Alex, would you like to hit us with Zombie Strike and throw a Phoenix down?
Hell yeah. Let's throw this Phoenix down. Thank you to Night of the Round for the theme music. Thank you to Nobuo Uematsu, Masashiyama Uzu, and Junya Nakano, and Yes.
And yes.
Big thank you to Yes.
True players for the game music.
To be continued, Ben.
Be sure to rate, review, subscribe wherever you find us. iTunes is great. We're still, for some reason, trending in Norway. I don't know why.
Love you guys.
We love you, Norway. We're coming to you real soon. Vaccinations are rolling out here.
Hell yeah, I love Lepros.
Oh yeah.
And they're from Norway. Call us at 530-MATERIA. We'll be taking those all through hiatus. So yeah, if you have any thoughts or critiques, or honestly just anything that's going on,
tell us how your day was.
Yeah, tell us how your day was.
Tell us what you think sin smells like. We haven't done that in a while.
Let me know if you want anything at the store. I'm going out a little later.
Yeah, we're going on a Wawa run. If anyone needs anything.
I bet you Yevon smells like an attic that you just haven't cleaned in a long time. He's got like the like
yeah, mothball, old lady,
like real
smell.
dry.
I don't know what roaches smell like, but that's just what it's like, a little roach.
Yeah.
You can leave your aeons laying out.
Yeah, it's definitely not like overpowering or anything, but it's like uncomfortable. You're like, ugh. Like you can exist in the room with the smell for a while, but like you're not gonna like it. You might kind of get used to it for like a couple minutes, and then you'll get like a strong whiff of it and be like, ah.
Yeah. Follow us at everyFNFF on Twitter, Instagram. I think that's our main things, right? Yeah, we have a Discord. Come visit and join the conversation and post your food and cat pics. And as always, you'll podcast. You're gonna podcast. You always podcast. See, you're podcasting.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.